when you're a bard all the way from your first cigarette to your last dying day.
Yeah.
Yeah, is that true?
It is. However, you're going to meet someone, you know, and she's going to change your view on that situation. Perhaps these lines that you drew with your best friends
Doesn't mean as much anymore.
don't mean as much.
Yeah.
But then you find a gun and things get exciting.
And then you get in a knife dance with people. Guys, watch musicals is what we're saying. Welcome to Werewolf Radar, the world's premiere.
So glad the West Side Story came into play.
The world's premier paranormal preparedness podcast. My name is Jordan Dahl.
I am Nate Balding.
And I am Roger Norquist because I forgot the name of a character from the play we're talking about.
I couldn't think of one.
Yeah, I know Maria.
Yeah, you're
And
Maria.
Marina. Yeah, I know Maria. Tony.
Tony,
I hope that just not
probably.
me being racist.
Probably Tony. Today's episode of Werewolf Radar is brought to you by the Monstroco Black Noise Machine. Fall asleep each night to sounds like intense whispering, subsonic chittering, or extended groaning. The Black Noise Machine from Monstroco. What the fuck?
I bought one of those. Well, I didn't buy it. They sent it to us. I got mine. Kylie was up all last night. She thought it was our neighbors, and I was like,
Yeah. It is supposed,
Monstroco, baby.
yeah, that's Monstroco you're hearing. It is supposed to it's not supposed to help you get to sleep. It's supposed to make it harder for you to sleep. This is for people who fall asleep too easily and feel that they would benefit from, you know, being a little on edge every night.
I get it. As someone who plays your FromSoft games and likes the difficulty, like I don't like something that you get too easily. I don't think there's a reward
It'll
without
work
a
for
challenge. Yes.
Yeah. I think my favorite one is cryptic chanting. That's my favorite sound on the Black Noise Machine to
Or it's
fall
just
asleep
weird
to.
Latin, Aramaic words over and over again. I do like that setting.
Sometimes the native language of the lizard folk, and it's just kind of clicks and hisses.
It's not a bad price at only $129.
129 what though is the question.
It does not say.
There's no dollar sign. It just says 129.
And there is a symbol, but it's of an unknown religion.
Not money.
Yeah.
That is not money. And they don't accept money. Usually when you try to pay for something from Monstroco, the guy on the phone will say the price has already been paid.
I love that, man. His voice scares the shit out of me, but where would I be without it?
And we say man sparingly because there is a certain imitative quality to the person on the phone that they may be playing at being a man. You know what I mean? Like a beast,
it's sort of like answering a seashell.
Yeah.
But it called you.
It sounds more like a creature mimicking the voice of a person, but doing so very well and with great customer service.
Better customer service than I give the people at my work, like bar none.
Speaking of mimics, do you guys mind if I take the
skull?
First?
Let me pass you the chest.
Okay, thank you. I will open the chest. I will pack the mouth full of seeing weed, old Toby from the North Shire, and I will take a huge hit from the speaking skull. And I want to tell you guys about this is going to be a loosey-goosey one. I'm going to tell you that right now.
Nice.
I found a post on Reddit. I'm always in Reddit. I'm in that deep Reddit shit.
You brought us some good Reddit. There's more in there. There's some good Reddit. Reddit isn't just a hellscape. It's
true. I mean, there are hellish places on Reddit, but it's better than Facebook. I think that's their slogan. Reddit, better than Facebook.
Reddit, not as gay as Tumblr, but better than Facebook.
I think they're going with Reddit, gayer than Facebook.
Yeah.
So I came across this thing that somebody posted on the cryptid subreddit. Now, first of all, can I take a minute to cast some shade upon the R Paranormal and the R Ghosts subreddit. Those subreddits are fucking filled with hateful turds, disbelievers of all stripes. People will post interesting videos on there and it gets hit with like fucking waves of people just debunking for no good reason. They love to be like, why were you filming? That's their favorite thing. It's like they think that they see further than the others. They're a bunch. And I say this as an erstwhile once and future skeptic. You know, I think that a healthy dose of skepticism is not only warranted, but absolutely required to be sort of a ghostronaut. But these people are fucks. They are a bunch of actually fucking glasses up the nose pricks. And they come at it with such like, you're lying to us. How dare you come here and trick us? And they all think that they're cracking the case. And, you know, some people do post bullshit on there, but it's easy to see. And then other people post shit that they're like, hey, I got this strange video that I'm looking for answers about. And they just get they fall upon them to be like, as like a fucking pick me ass, look who's the smartest tower of douchebags. And that's where I'll leave it. So I'm just saying there's a nice way to help people explore the paranormal, and fucking that ain't it. So
let's just strap yourself to the electrodes I got. Let's see what your brain sees.
Also just be like, yeah, people aren't really digging orbs anymore. A lot of the time it's dust. A lot of the time it's, you know, insects or whatever. But, you know, here's what you want to look for in a paranormal video instead of being, you know, thinking that you're fucking king shit of Skeptic Mountain. And it's all of them.
Tell us what would impress you. And then you'd be like, well, here's this. What do you think of this? It's more constructive.
Not to mention that every once in a while, a fucking really good video comes across it. And you're like, that's strange and weird, but it'll just be a fucking bunch of turds being like, why were you recording in the middle of the night? Because I heard a terrifying sound. Anyway.
Yeah.
Because it's 2024. I have a phone.
Yeah. And there was a ghost. You guys are always asking for footage. Anyway. That's I've been wanting to get that off of my chest for a while, as you can tell. So I came across this thing on the cryptid subreddit, which is a pretty good subreddit. A lot of good people out there. This was posted by user Herbert Thunkel 9 days ago. And they posted a thing that said, Soviet Union, 1965, scientists found an insectoid that stands 2.5 meters. It also has a gut that holds 20 liters of warm mammal blood.
Wait.
Soviet Union,
to say some of that.
1965. Scientists found an insectoid that stands 2.5 meters.
About 7-8 feet.
It also has a gut that holds 20 liters of warm mammal.
That's what confused me. I thought you meant it has mammal blood. But what you're saying is it has a gut just holding some mammal blood.
Yeah.
Well, is it drinking the blood for sustenance, or is it moving it somewhere?
So here, what a terrifying thought.
Me and Nate have some terrifying questions that we need you to read on.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that they're moving it down to the Chapel of Scabs to help build their horrible scab nest. That's
where I like to hang out in my Bloodborne fantasy.
Yeah, that's my favorite place to level up in Final Fantasy Online, the Chapel of Scabs. So here's the reason this one's going to be pretty loosey-goosey is because I read the article, I started digging for more information, and I found all of this information is contained in a book, a paper, you might call it, a report, and it's just long as fuck. And I am a real armchair cryptid enthusiast, but I'll read you the post. I might read some excerpts from the paper. You can find it. You can purchase the pamphlet, booklet, paper, research on Amazon even. You can have it shipped straight to your house. You don't even need to do that. You can read it online.
I don't get enough manuscripts shipped to my house, though. I think this might be one of them.
do. I actually ended up like looking for kind of cryptid giant insect encounters. Not as many out there as you might anticipate. A lot of people have reported seeing giant ants, but when you get to the nitty gritty of how big an ant is, a giant ant is still, like the size of a human hand, which is.
I mean, that's horrifying.
It's horrifying, but there's bugs that are that big, I mean, you know what I mean when I say giant ant. I want something that can
You're
carry
talking
off
about
a giant aunt.
Yeah, like the
Thank you.
like the movie Them is or
Them.
They.
Yes,
Yeah.
or to a
Them,
lesser
yeah.
extent, Matinee.
Yeah, where it's like, no, this is the size of a house or a
Yes.
large truck.
Or just a car. Yeah, I would accept an ant that's the size of a car.
Both fantastic movies, by the way.
Yes. Matinee, underrated. So this is the post. In this book by Edward Agon, professes with photos and snippets of autopsy that an insectoid creature closely related to termites and cockroaches survived the Permian Age. To survive the Permian Age, it went deep into caverns inside the earth and survived on low O2 levels, which is actually quite contrary to the idea of a giant insect. A lot of people will tell you that there can't be giant insects because the reason they were so big in the past was because of the massive amounts of oxygen in the atmosphere, which the way that insects breathe
is weird, dude. Go into it.
Weird. Yeah, they don't have lungs in the way that we understand them. They have like pores along their body, and like the way their body convulses or pulses brings oxygen in and distributes it. And I'm no entomologist, so I'm not. This is all fucking, once again, armchair entomology.
Yeah, go look it up.
Look that shit up.
Cardiovascular system, and it is
correct
insane.
my ass. But who's to say?
No, you were correct.
Who's to say that something from the Permian era couldn't have evolved some way to counteract that? I mean, lots of things have evolved lungs over the years. That's kind of one of our big successes, really. Remember when we were fish? Anyway,
I do. We still have water eyes.
This person warns you against the contents of the manuscript as it has shocking photos of human abductions where all their internal organs are removed, as well as not a drop of blood remains in the victims. Also posited is a biological reality often ignored that an animal from another planet or galaxy would find sustenance on terrestrial beings. This is very strangely written. I'm going to guess because of a mistranslation or some sort.
From Russian to English is a fun one, I hear.
Potentially. I don't know what's going on with Herbert Funkel, but more power to you for bringing this to our attention. Wait a minute. Galaxy would find no sustenance on terrestrial being, and that is being laid out here as well. Interesting. No sustenance, huh? So they wouldn't, like, I guess the idea is like if we ended up on another planet, we wouldn't be able to eat any of
our systems wouldn't be able to break down that type of plant cell or there just animal cell.
There wouldn't be nutrients for us.
We wouldn't literally have the bacteria or the acids to deal with anything on this planet.
Kind of an extreme version of don't drink the water. Basically, he's saying that some of the aliens may have insectoid origins, but their brains are so powerful due to 7 million years of developing that they can force us to see something beautiful, sexy to attract the victims. So I guess the idea is like they can't extract nutrients themselves. So maybe it's an extraterrestrial life form that is living deep in the earth. That's kind of a giant cockroach. And so the way that they get their nutrients is via blood. I don't really understand exactly what he's saying here.
It's what I'm getting right now as well, though.
So you get, we've already ingested those nutrients. Why don't you just drink it in that delicious meat flavored Gatorade that is the human bloodstream? 7 million years developing, they have this kind of mimicry power where they can make you see a sexy lady, or like a Bugs Bunny dressed up like a sexy lady, except it's a blood-sucking alien cockroach. This is Men in Black. I'm just now realizing this is the plot for Men in Black. Except for that illusion power, cast greater illusion thing. It may display altruistic motives just to get the belief system on their side, so they may extricate their chupacabra victims quietly and randomly. It has just been discussed that the famous Black Dahlia murder in the 1940s may have been a human abduction mutilation.
I disagree.
Very unlikely.
Yeah. So, there's this paper that you can read. It is called Giant Eusocial Insectoids and Their Anthrop Symbionts. And you can read pretty much the whole thing online. It says about topic. Oh shit. And it's gone blurry because I didn't pay for it.
We refuse to pay for questionable bits of literature. We'll only read it to you.
Son of a bitch. It goes blurry so much, but you can find this online. And so my question to you, gents.
Yes.
What do you think? Giant subterranean vampire roaches using greater illusion to entice people into, you go up to make out with a sexy man or lady that you see in the sewers, and you're like, oh yeah, sure, why not? And next thing you know, you're 20 pounds of mammal blood, 20 liters of mammal blood in a bug's stomach.
I do believe, if you don't mind me jumping in first, Nate, that there is animal. What shit, I forgot the word. There is animals that have all of these traits.
You think that there's animals that have psychic Bugs Bunny dressed as a lady powers?
Let me explain that one.
Spider sense.
Okay.
I do believe there are animals that look similar enough to different species, and then they use the same species
fair.
sexual traits to attract them, and then they eat them when they're attracted. So like that type, not psychic, but enough to where I am being tricked psychologically. So I do believe this a little bit. Plus,
so the question becomes, if we know,
I believe in descent creatures.
Sure. I mean, the Earth.
So yes, I'm pro.
The surface of the Earth is what? Maybe less than 1% of the entire volume of it?
Yes, of what we know as terrestrial beings that terrestrial beings live on, it's very slim.
Oh, you landwalkers, you think you know everything about the Earth. You have yet to see the giant crystal worms of Galactor 9. That's a place in the center of the Earth. Better than Galactor 8, worse than Galactor 10.
But I guess my problem with that is why, just like descent creatures, they have lived there for so long that there is no reason for them to leave. They can sustain themselves, so the descent creatures don't come up.
Yeah. I mean, there are laws of biology and
I refuse to follow them.
Biological chemistry that would insist that life can only exist in certain parameters, but we are constantly proving ourselves wrong. We, for hundreds of years, have thought that we figured out all there is to know about any given subject. And yes, we've amassed more science and more facts than ever to prove some of that stuff. But at the same time, how long before we realized that, insects could exist in a giant fashion due to some fucking, weird roach organ developed in certain species that cycles oxygen throughout their bodies.
Well, and science is ever changing.
Science is ever changing is exactly what I'm saying.
We just find new stuff all the time.
And Roger, as you say, there's obviously evidence for successful mimicry as both a means of survival and a means of predation in the natural world. And there's also evidence for
I've seen a moth that makes my face with its wings.
how's that how's that peyote excursion going for you? We're definitely talking about the excellent fucking Del Toro movie Mimic right now, right?
I don't know.
You don't know Mimic? You don't remember Mimic? Mimic was great. It's kind of about this.
I did see it.
Yeah, except
I've even seen like Mimic 3.
Yeah, those creatures were made because of like chemicals.
But aren't we all created because of chemicals?
That's a point. That's a good one.
I just Neil deGrasse you all.
So there's also boy, what a jackass that guy turned out to be. Anyway, there's also I'm full of opinions today.
I like it though. Please don't change.
I'm 2 coffees deep and I'm going to the fucking boards on this one. But so just as there is evidence of mimicry in nature, there's also evidence to suggest that psychic phenomenon is real. And who's to say that the two couldn't come together in some sort of terrifying evolutionary fucking beast? And yeah, I mean, this is a weird one. This is a very, very strange one.
Psychic mosquito.
Psychic mosquito this weekend on Sci-Fi. But I mean, if something were intelligent enough and successful enough, could it exist underground for this long without us knowing about it? Is that possible?
Yeah. I said it in my argument. I believe in the descent creatures. I think first of all, there's cave spider. Anyway, there's cave spiders, man. I believe wholeheartedly. Yes, I do think there's a breeding population of 8 foot tall insectoids who have, instead of beer guts, blood guts.
Blood guts.
Or no, instead of beer bellies, they got blood bellies.
This guy even goes on to talk about like certain cave paintings that he says depict these creatures.
Now, is he talking about those I don't know the tribe, but Southwest America, they were saved by the ant people.
The ant people. Who knows? Potentially. We might be connecting with the ant people.
But they were friends. They did not drink our blood.
Well, maybe that's as this person posits, maybe that was all a front to get on our side, so that they could be like, don't worry, believe in us. Come check out the hole. And then when you go into the hole, slurp, 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 guess who's a Capri Sun?
Is that what happens when you win the lottery, maybe? That's why we don't see too many lottery winners. They go into the hole to get their money. That's right. I'm saying the government is in league with the ant people.
Yeah. Roach people. These are roach people.
Oh, sorry. Roach people.
And they live in a chapel of scabs deep beneath our feet. But they would almost, I mean, there's almost no record of anybody seeing anything like this. This is the most, it's possible. Yes, sure. From my limited understanding, which is chiefly informed by the fact that I know nothing. And that's what makes me believe in certain things. Yes. True knowledge is knowing that you know nothing. And I think that's true of everybody when we're a little more than a strange bacteria on the surface of this planet, a very successful one. But yeah, I think that there could be all kinds of weird shit down there that we are completely unaware of. But it seems to be very scant evidence, even in terms of lore and mythology, for something like this.
Yeah. Fair enough. If there was, and Nate, you tell me if you agree or disagree, but if it was like maybe there would be evidence, there would be cave paintings, there would be various legends from various cultures being like, yo, these people exist and we've interacted with them and they got pissed off and now they drink our blood.
Yeah. Also, just to be Durbal's advocate here, maybe there are. I doubt there would be mammals that far down just because of the pressure. There'd be flat ass moles. That's another cryptid that I'm coining right now. The FAM,
the flat ass mole,
flat ass mole,
FAM,
and maybe they largely feed on them. Or something else, some other source of nutrients down there. Whereas the ones that are taking people are, I don't know, rejects from society, forced to live on the outskirts. Morlocks, but surface Morlocks. Who knows? Also, a thing that I always come back to, so many people disappear.
Yes.
Just never to be heard of from again. And we can kind of be like, oh, I wonder if this happened to them. I wonder if that happened to them. Yeah, wonder on. You're never going to find out what happened to them.
Well, I feel like most of them are buried about 1 foot below the surface of the earth.
Yeah, because of the roaches that got them. Grabbed them by the ankles, seized them down into the topsoil, and fucking proboscisated them.
Tremoid.
Tremdor.
It just gets so much harder to live underneath. But I mean, like, I'm looking it up now, and take it for what you will. Sometimes Quora does have some facts because there's enough people trying to correct insane people.
Mm-hmm.
But this professor who's citing another professor, I won't go into it too much. I mean, there's crustaceans that live down that low. And like you said, maybe some weird evolution. Now something is way bigger, but there are some animals who live thousands of meters below the surface.
Los crustáceos.
Think about it, everyone.
Yeah. So there you go. Giant eusocial insects and their anthroposymbionts. It's a book. You can buy it on Instagram. You can buy it on Amazon. And
make an Instagram from it.
You should read it. You read it. I don't want to.
You read it. Go to our Discord. You tell us about it.
Yeah,
and then we'll continue the segment next week.
Look, we're comedians. We're not researchers.
But we could be if
maybe we could get a researcher. What if we added a 4th member to the crew who's like a researcher on some
that
sort
would
of
be fun.
We already kind of have Jason Cordova.
Jay Cordo, what a great researcher.
But he's now almost an expert. He's getting his master's, soon to be doctorate. He's gonna.
Cordo does a lot of work. Cordo does a lot of work every week on folklore and stuff. We don't also need to be like, hey, we need you to read this whole book so we can make dick jokes about it.
But maybe one day, if enough people join our Patreon.
Hang on, I just thought of a great dick joke for this. You know what else has 20 liters of warm mammal blood in it? My dick. Okay, so I'm going to pass the speaking skull to whomever would like to speak into it. But just remember, folks, there could be a society of vampire roaches living beneath our feet.
So, keep clean. No cardboard boxes on the ground.
Yeah, that's where they like to hide.
Yeah.
Get in
Sweep underneath the fridge.
Yeah. And every time you kill a roach, drink its blood as revenge.
They're doing it to us.
I actually also just have a bunch of Reddit stuff.
Nice. Right. I went to Reddit too.
Reddit. The lifeblood. The lifeblood of Werewolf Radar, keeping us afloat in the dark times and the light.
I thought I would have more time to do some research between waking up and getting on.
I shot my wad on the black noise machine. That was all I had.
The black noise machine was good.
That was a horrific sentence to say. Sorry.
I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
So I just looked at but we call ourselves the world's premier paranormal preparedness podcast.
I mean, we are. Is there a better one? Who's the best?
Well, it's us. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Still us.
But we rarely give a ton of advice.
We really stopped. Yeah.
So I thought, maybe let's look for some stuff where we can give some advice.
Okay.
Ooh, we're helping the people.
Can I name this segment?
Yes, you can.
Girl, you gotta run.
Oh.
That's what I'm calling this one. Because that's going to be most of my advice.
I'm going to go in a different direction, but we'll see what the advice needs to be.
Try kissing is Roger's advice.
It works sometimes, and you won't be alone.
Yeah, fair enough.
Here's one that's fun for Easter.
I've got a Jesus haunting my apartment.
Evil spirits at 3 a.m.
Oh.
I moved into a Christian house where I can hear demons making noises for spirits around 3 a.m.
And what makes it a Christian house? Is the house itself baptized?
Yeah, I think that's called a church.
It's very possible. This includes slamming kitchen cabinets, breaking kitchenware, and my roommate inhales and exhales like there's spirits moving in and out of him.
Okay, that's schizophrenia.
Which might be a black noise.
That's somebody suffering from schizophrenia. Why do you breathe like that? Like what? Like there's ghosts going in and out of you. What?
And it sounds like he's trying to talk in his sleep. I have witnessed a portrait fly off the wall before as soon as I woke up. I have fallen out of Christianity due to high judgment. I have heard the fire alarm get triggered as if it had a low battery, only once, which actually just sounds like change the batteries.
But it keeps going, like it's repeating. So this is just once. It just went
the one time, yeah. And it never sounded again for months. I sometimes hear tapping from the attic, etc. Any thoughts?
Okay, well, first of all, like Jordan said, you should always double check. You should always check on your mental health.
No.
It is something even healthy people that think they're healthy should do.
Mm-hmm. Go get that brain looked at.
Go get the brain looked at. That's always something to do. Once
slamming cabinet doors in a flying portrait.
Dude, you'd be surprised what good therapy will solve.
Yeah, they'll be like the slamming cabinet. The cabinets are slamming in your mind.
No, but Nate's right on that part. Like we're beyond that with that. Like, sure,
that's a little weird.
Thinking there's demons coming in and out of your roommate as he breathes as you you're thinking too hard about it.
That's a pretty complicated suspicion right there.
I mean, it's also weird to have seen any of your roommates sleeping.
I assume while watching the telly, like
listen to this weird shit. Every night when I watch my roommate sleep, it's like there's ghosts going in and out of them. I want to tell them about it, but then they'd know that I'm in the hamper.
But yeah, that's then very weird. And then you have the tapping on the attic, the weird electrical anomaly, which could be weird shorting or a battery issue, a wiring issue, but a lot of stuff is adding up.
In any case, girl,
you better run. You better run.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good catchphrase for this segment.
I like it.
Where do they run to? House, apartment?
Yeah, anywhere where there's other people. I mean, in this case, probably to a mental health specialist. But once you get the clear on the
mental health,
on the crazies, and I say that as a crazy person, you get right back in there. You got a ghost, homie. And if that is a ghost, my general advice, open the windows, sage the area, say out loud, this is your space and this is my space and you're not welcome here.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
But if you want to do the opposite, I say you keep the windows shut, put up cameras everywhere. And then once a night, you say, I love you through the Ouija board.
That's a good idea. That's also a good idea.
Think about it. Not for the faint of heart, not for those looking for another one's heart. Wait, I said that backwards. My bad. It is for those looking for another one's heart.
Yeah. I like this. Let's give some more advice.
Yeah, this is a fun segment. 8 crushed it.
Yeah. So the next one is semi-demonic visits in dreams.
Scary, frightening. One of the things I truly fear.
As of late, I feel like I've been attracting demons when I don't want them to be around me.
Go on.
Like, generally speaking, yeah, we don't. I thought I got rid of him because it felt like he was attached to me against his will, so I told him to go away, and he did for about 2 months.
Oh, boy.
I must also mention that I started getting depressed again, and that I'm extremely sensitive spiritually, but I'm okay otherwise. No bad thoughts or anything, just being miserable. There are zero... there's no punctuation in this.
Ooh, it's written like the last chapter of Ulysses.
Yeah. And that's when he came back, and I know it's him because it feels like the same entity, since he always shows up in my dreams. In the past, it was to provoke me and piss me off, but now I don't even know. He, in my dream, came across as an evil grandfather who's tired of everyone's bullshit.
Oh,
nice.
Really annoyed at me. And again, he was like a really old and wise, but he appeared like a young man. I could see his age right through his eyes, and his aura. And when I woke up, I didn't feel alone and safe. He also paused the dream I was having, like he literally invaded my dream. And I know he did because every time I fell asleep, I'd feel an evil presence in my room, and it would continue in the dream.
That's upsetting.
It's like how when you're hungry in a dream and you wake up and you're actually hungry, or when you're
Dude, what the fuck is the dreamscape to y'all? I have the one dream where I dream of the spider or nothing at all.
I have
but you all have like you get hungry and then you're like, you know what? You were right, dream. I could have
if I'm thirsty at night, back in the day, if I got like super drunk or something and woke up super hungover and thirsty, I would dream that I was like chugging water and it wasn't quenching my thirst. And so it was like my body would wake me up to be like, you need some water, dude.
Weird. I mean, neat.
So I guess the hunger thing makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've experienced both of those. Where you dream about eating or drinking?
Did I already tell you guys about my full experience that I wasn't ready to talk about the other day about the dream?
I think you just told me that one when we were playing a game.
Yeah, I'll tell you guys about it once we're done with this segment.
So listeners,
do we have advice for this person?
Yes. My advice, you got to confront this thing head on. This is definitely a situation where it sounds like you're being haunted. You're getting some visitations. I would say tell them outright, stop it. I know it's stupid and you feel stupid, but say it in your room. I know people are afraid to do that because sometimes it feels like you're antagonizing it, but fuck that. The war is on. They're antagonizing you. Say, leave me alone. Get out of I don't want to see you in my dreams. I don't want to feel you in my room. This is my space. Get out firmly and stay. Don't apologize. Don't say, please, if you want to, just say, get out. Time for you to get out.
You must command
Stop it, young grandpa.
Open the windows, sage the area, and drink some water. Make sure you're drinking enough water.
And I'm gonna say, as the poster put in the beginning of it, get some mental help. You said it yourself. This is this happens when you get depressed. You gotta wash your brain. You gotta floss your brain out a little bit. That's gonna help defend against this.
You gotta get that brain flossed.
Floss your brain.
Because you said it yourself. This is what happens. So I guess unfortunately, like you just gotta see a therapist all the time, and there's no shame about it. I do as well. And floss your brain, keep the scary guy at bay.
See a therapist twice a month at least, and a psychiatrist. And you could, you can talk to them about this stuff. I know that they're not necessarily a shaman or whatever, but if you have spiritual qualms, you could bring it up to them. They would help you deal with at least the stress of what's happening to you. And if that doesn't do it for you, go see that shaman. Go seek seek spiritual help. There's people out there.
Straight up. I got a lot of shamans that come into my work.
Mad
they
shamans.
love pot. Bring them a blunt.
I love it. This place crawling with shamans. Can't throw a rock in Denver without hitting a shaman.
We are shaman rich, yes.
Also, don't throw rocks in Denver. You'll hit a shaman.
You'll hit a shaman, and it is a hate crime.
Yeah, you'll get fucking cursed as hell.
All right, here's the next one. Buying a new doll.
Ah.
Hello. That's your first mistake.
Hello. I have recently purchased a new haunted doll.
Okay, then we can't help you.
This case has already solved itself.
Who is the spirit of a 4-year-old child? Does anyone have any advice? This is my first time purchasing one. Thanks.
I have some advice. Stop buying haunted dolls.
Why? And is there any comment down below from the poster saying, why did anyone ask, why did you do this? And then they were all like, well, I'm building a haunted museum. Or
people just like them. Haunted dolls are the secret lifeblood of eBay.
I guess, man, we've done our own segments about it. So you are correct.
Entire industries. There are people whose full-time income stems from selling so-called haunted dolls on the internet. And sure, maybe some of them are haunted, but you can't make an industry out of collecting and selling truly haunted dolls. There's just not enough supply and demand. So people get creepy dolls and they haunt them with a backstory, which who knows, maybe that's how things become haunted. Maybe if you pour enough lore and backstory into this shit,
right, it's almost a Tulpa situation.
Yeah. But yeah, and you know what? I'll tell you right now, most of these ones, the good haunted dolls will come with their own backstory and care instructions.
Yes.
Well, so this is a first-time haunted doll buyer.
Yeah.
Do we have anything for them?
Yeah, other than not doing it, because I will assume this is a lifestyle choice which you are choosing. I'm going to say a door with a lock. No, it's just going to lock it. I don't have any advice. I hate these dolls. Jordan, go.
I got one. Make friends with the doll. You don't want to be in a contentious relationship with this haunted doll. You want to make sure that you're on the same team. Yes. Treat the doll as you would any other roommate. Treat it with respect and dignity. and follow your care instructions. If the care instructions say that it needs, a cup of tea every Wednesday, by God, you get that cup of tea. And don't be like, well, I feel silly giving a doll tea. You bought a haunted doll. It's the silly train has sailed. And I know that trains don't sail, but we're in haunted Dollsville here. So
yeah, your polycule has become extra.
Yeah, respect the doll. That's the shirt.
Mhm.
That's the shirt for this one. That's the t-shirt. Respect the doll.
Respect the doll. And then it's like a doll. It's like Robert the doll's face in like blood red ink.
I will not draw Robert the doll. I simply won't do it.
Well, then Annabelle-like doll. That one's fake.
That's easier. That's easier for me.
No real haunted dolls, though. Fair enough.
I will not invoke that guy. I will not provoke him. You're supposed to ask before taking a picture. I can only imagine what drawing a portrait.
Dude, stealing his likeness for capitalism.
Oh.
Robert the doll's a labor leader.
Yes.
That's the t-shirt. Draw that one.
Here's another question. Is something paranormal trying to contact me?
The answer is yes.
Probably.
Do you have Cricket Wireless? Because that's the only wireless service that ghosts can talk on.
It could be a coincidence, but I've been trying to contact Lucifer for months.
You found some good ones, Nate.
Kind of answered your own question there.
And recently I keep getting the number 666 on everything. My McDonald's order number, video game hashtags are full of 666.
Now that's
Burger of the Beast.
A lot. The gamer tag ones is just dudes like me who are having fun, and they're like, I need a number 2 because poop shooter's already taken. Fine, I'm poop shooter 666.
Yeah.
It seems anything I do that needs a number has 666.
Yeah,
it's a weird coincidence.
Yes.
This
has been happening a lot. Is this a sign of Lucifer?
This is my advice for this one. No, what you're experiencing is a positive correlation with your current obsession with the occult. You were probably seeing these numbers before, but you're just noticing them more now because you're like, oh. I think when
it's like waking up at 11:11.
Yes, I think when some sort of archdemon is trying to contact you, you'll know it.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say as well. You will be contacted by a gentleman in a perfectly black suit with a black tie who's wearing a wide-brimmed hat and has a cane.
Yes. And he'll offer he's going to open a store that sells everything you need.
Everything. And you're going to go inside that store. And you know what? You're going to find the phonograph that will play your grandmother's record.
Yeah. You're going to find that fucking Mezco Hellboy comic book edition that you've been looking for. But you know what? There's a curse attached to him, and it's going to rip your dick off.
You're going to ask, how much is this object? And he's going to stare at you in the eye, and he's going to say, $350.
The price has already been paid.
Oh. No, he needs money. Even the devil needs cash right now.
He's got to pay rent on this place. Yeah, I mean, my advice is probably not.
I think it is coincidence. I think you are, like Jordan said, noticing the number because you are infatuated or obsessed with Lucifer right now.
Yes.
But it's pretty cool, man. I suggest listening to some Slayer.
Yeah.
Or maybe some Faust. Is that the Norwegian Finnish band?
I don't know.
I say you listen to some Norwegian death metal and just keep thinking about 666, baby.
Yeah, get in there, you freak.
So here's the final entry.
Okay.
Entity in dream? Question mark.
Question mark? Arr?
All right. So I had this dream in a mental hospital.
Nice. Good start. So you're already getting mental health help.
It was of me in my dorm sitting on the floor in front of the TV crying.
Oh.
My eyes looked like the eyes from Bird Box. If you've seen the movie, you know, but yeah, it was just tears running down my face.
Yeah.
Okay.
You got the crazy cries.
Oh.
Looking at the TV like it was beautiful. On the TV, it was me getting older. Then there was a mirror right next to the TV. And so I looked at myself and it was all fuzzy. Then my reflection turned its head. Then I was immediately pulled under the bed halfway. And all I saw was darkness. But something was holding onto me saying, "Do you believe in me now?"
Yeah,
in a
nice.
demonic voice. And me shaking my head rapidly in a panic, saying, "No, no, no." Then pulled under the bed. Then I woke up.
Interesting.
After I woke up, I still felt the hand that grabbed me under the bed.
Strange. So
I hate it.
yeah. This sounds.
It goes on.
Go on.
Anyways, I think it's a sign from something unknown that has been following me for years. And I try to convince myself it's not real. I'm not seeing this. I'm not hearing this thing talk to me and calling my name. But do I see, hear, and feel it? I don't know. Don't want to get too much into it. Thoughts.
So, from what this person is saying, yes, this sounds like
100% haunted,
or an attack from whatever entity has attached itself to this person for purposes of feeding off of exactly this thing. Absolute fear and, utter terror. In terms of getting rid of something like that, you gotta seek spiritual help, homie. On the other hand, this also sounds like a nightmare. You might have had a very intense nightmare, but I'm kind of the opinion.
They're already in a mental hospital. So,
yeah,
I mean,
yeah. I'm kind of the opinion that the dreamscape itself is sort of where things like this exist. So who's to say that a nightmare isn't a visitation, a sort of predation by some sort of energy entity? So pretty freaky, especially given what it said and given what the person says is the background of them trying to ignore this thing and pretending it doesn't exist, and then having this confrontation. Check out some Reiki, or even just go to get your fortune told and tell them about it. Don't start spending a lot of money, because there are a lot of scammers out there. But if you find someone who genuinely can help, some sort of a healer, some sort of a faith healer, somebody who believes in this type of thing and cottons to it, if you will.
I concur.
And I do kind of wonder if, like, this demonic attack, if it's been ongoing, might be the reason that they were even initially in a mental institution.
Sure. I mean, some people will tell you that, things like this, it's kind of a slippery slope to Scientology, but things like this are, most mental and sometimes physical ailments are caused by fucking creatures.
Thetans.
And you know what? This is actually a good segue into me telling you guys about the scary thing that happened to me, the dream that I had. So I had a dream where it was me and a bunch of friends from high school, and we were all sitting around these small fires, kind of making smoke signals, and we were dressed in kind of leathers and skins, and we were basically playing at being Native Americans, pretending to be Indians, as it were. And and we were kind of making this rhythmic sound on our knees and just sort of like singing a song, and we were blowing on these fires trying to get them to bigger and bigger. And I definitely had this weird vibe of like, why are we doing this? This feels all kinds of strange to be
For sure.
doing this. And then all of a sudden there was like a big goofy hillbilly in between us, and he was standing there. I can still remember what he looked like. He was this big kind of shaved headed, tall, lanky, blonde kid, and he kicked fire onto our sacred, or he kicked dirt onto our sacred fire, and it went out. And I stood up and I like kind of did like a feint, and I struck him. I lashed out and I hit him. And now in the real world, I had lashed out at my wonderful girlfriend who was asleep next to me and struck her in my sleep. Yeah. And it was like that's what I woke up to, was like a cry of pain and betrayal and her going, why? And I can laugh now, but it was a terrifying moment. And I was like, what the fuck? Oh, there was somebody in my dream. Oh, I'm so sorry. And I started talking to her about the dream. And I was like, we were all like sitting around pretending to be Native American. And then I all of a sudden realized that the night before I had this moment where somebody had asked a friend of ours, a comedian, Nathan Lund, check him out, check out Soups on YouTube, had asked about a certain Native American legend that I happen to know a lot about. I'm not going to say it here because of what I'm about to tell you. But he asked about it. He was like, what's the deal with blank? And I launched into like everything I knew about it and told him what it was as I understood it from kind of a sort of a folklorist standpoint. And I was really pretending, or really just sort of playing the part of knowing a lot about this thing. And all of a sudden I got this feeling that was like, you shouldn't be talking about this. And it was so strange that I like apologized out loud. I was like, oh, I feel like I'm not supposed to be talking about this. Sorry, whoever. And then I had this dream where I was pretending to be an Indian, and it ended in somebody that I really care about getting hurt. And I, ever since then, have been much more careful about things that I profess knowledge in, because I feel like that dream was something telling me you shouldn't talk about shit you don't understand. Not to mention that in said culture, from what I understand, not as somebody who knows about these things, you're not supposed to talk about that shit.
Interesting. I mean,
all right.
It is, I believe in that. I believe in the dreamscape as an ecosystem.
I have had a couple of dreams that I'm like, what was that? I had one specifically that was like about a Draugr. Do you remember that?
I've killed many.
Yes, yes.
Not in Skyrim.
And it was like, it was very strange. It was very real, and it was very scary. I've been woken up by kind of a growled whisper in my in-between space. I've been woken up by shadow figures hunched over me. This one was really terrifying because it had like real world implications. My poor girlfriend.
She got the fist.
She was terrified, and it caused me to hurt the person that I care most about in the world. And obviously I didn't mean to do it. It was an accident, and I apologize. And she understood, but she was like, "What the fuck?"
Mm-hmm.
And it was when I tell it like this, she's like, "You didn't pay the price. I paid the fucking price." And I was like, "Well, but that's what better way to hurt me through my dream than by hurting somebody that I care about." It's like if I would have hit myself in the head, I would have been like, "Oh, that was silly. What a strange dream." But to actually like have someone
sock somebody in the head.
Get a bruise from this. And this is dangerous. This is like, I feel weird talking about it because it's like, you know, it sounds like some sort of spousal abuse, which is not at all what happened. This was an accident. She understands that, and I understand that, but it was still very, very scary, and like made me once again kind of re-examine what are dreams? What is happening in these dreams? What is this a place where we can be contacted? You know, is this a place where we can kind of interact with entities that have something to tell us?
Well, I mean, it's also like I've had deja vu from dreams many times.
Yeah.
Like the other day, I think there was like a whole hour that I realized, oh, I've done this before.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like I've done this before. It was, I fucking dreamed this.
Yeah. I've dreamed places that I end up at years later.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, right. I had a dream about this place. Anyway.
This all sounds fucking crazy. As someone who has, once again, the one dream or nothing.
The dream of the spider.
Yeah, or nothing.
It's pretty scary.
Wild.
And it makes you wonder, what is the nature of reality? What is the substance of reality? Is this, but one of many realities? Last night, I found myself dreaming and I do this quite often, kind of an entirely different version of myself that almost feels like they exist in another reality currently. And I'm watching them do things that I'm like super glad I haven't done. I'm like, oh, you really fucked up, alternate me. And it's like
that, wear that black suit and dance across the streets of New York.
This one last night was specifically went to a comedy festival and got like super wasted and still tried to do a set. And then like everybody at the comedy festival was like, you're fucking hammered, dude. That sucked. That was bad comedy. You ate shit. I just remember being like, boy, I'm glad I'm not living that kind of life anymore. And being like, you're really fucking up, alternate Jordan. You need to get that shit together. And it's like, maybe that's,
and then you're like, I'm out of here.
Maybe that's what it is. Or maybe it's just my mind trying to be like, hey, remember this? Don't do that again.
Yeah. I mean, I think that sounds more to me like fear of what could have been.
It does, but there's this pervasive feeling.
For sure. That's the fun part.
There's this pervasive feeling of it happening somewhere to some version of me. It's hard to describe, but it's like an alternate
like the movie
life.
Sliding Doors.
It's like an alternate life that has just kind of a very shitty vibe. It's like if there was an Instagram filter that was like shitty life. It's like I'm watching a movie of an alternate reality that has that filter over it.
Wait a minute. I would have, if I kept getting hammered.
Yeah.
I could have gone to Montreal.
I could have gone to a festival. I did go to Montreal.
Nice.
Oh, okay. Oh.
Yeah,
and for hammered. A festival.
Beautiful city.
True.
And it was a comedy festival, and he stayed for the next festival the week later, the Poutine Festival.
Poutine Festival was just me and all the poutine I ate. That was in my hotel room. Yes, I did. Anyway, that's my fucking diatribe about dreams and the pretty scary experience that I had recently. I would like to once again publicly apologize to my girlfriend for lashing out at her in my dream. I'm so sorry, baby. I love you so much. And I want to apologize about talking out of my ass, shit that I don't know about that is meant to not be talked about except for by very specific people. So be careful. Be careful what you profess to know.
And that entity was, of course, Beetlejuice.
What did I just say?
Oh, my bad. My bad.
That's one.
All right, never again. May I take the skull
Please,
and
take the skull.
end
Yes, you
this
should.
Reddit festival
And
of
the
horror
Reddit Festival.
So
just for Reddit Montreal.
the subreddit I went to was humanoid encounters.
Love humanoid encounters.
I was struggling to find a topic. I had the news, which was fun and fresh, but I was like, I don't really know what to talk about. I just went over the Bigfoot, the psychic Bigfoot, which we referenced, the ancient ones, all that jazz. And I love the encounters. I love it when people are seeing weird shit.
Encounter.
You know?
Love it. Love the encounter.
So let's go into the 3 that I found, and then we'll wrap up this episode. And the first is posted by one Pony Lover 2101.
Okay. Well.
And it is titled, "What Kind of Creature Is This?" Hello, everyone. So my friends live in the deep woods of North Carolina, and they live and the land they live on has always felt very off, in parentheses. You do not want to be on the property. You don't want to be on the property by yourself. It doesn't matter if it's day or night. Me and multiple people have seen this same creature. It is tall, skinny, pale in color, and has white horns.
Oh.
It also hides behind trees and seems to blend in with the tree line.
Xaroo.
When we see it, it is always at night. It also makes you feel dread when you see it. In the woods around this house, it's almost like everything is either dead silent or too much sound at once, like rustling in the trees, leaves being stepped on, etc.
Like shit, trying to get all their business done before the fucking horned crawler comes back.
Yes. It's gonna now say a name of a creature I'm not too familiar with, and one that I know very little about. Out of all the times we've seen this creature, we can only compare it to what I've seen as a mix of a hide behind.
Yes.
Not sure what that is exactly.
Hide behind is kind of a, and once again, just speaking from what I've read here, is kind of a...
it's a fearsome critter.
It's a fearsome critter of the American Southwest, along there with like a cactus cat or a slide rock bolter. It's kind of a critter that hides behind trees or a lot of the time people. And when they turn around, it's gone, but it's still like behind you.
Ooh, scary.
Pretty spooky.
So a hide behind and a Wendigo. So I guess like that traditional Wendigo legend, if you're familiar, does not have horns though.
I'm gonna tell you right now.
Yes,
that was the one.
I know about it. I wasn't sure how to deal with this, but for the sake of it,
it's okay.
It is what it is.
Throwing it out there.
It looks like the traditional form of that. Look into it, not the one with horns, which is a kind of modern.
Yeah, that's a concoction. That's
myth.
That's for the movies. People love to love a monster with deer antlers.
And as our friend Jason Cordova said, it is a big Western thing on how do we make this monster have native lineage or native lore associated with it. And of course they put on deer antlers or whatever.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
So it's not accurate. And it is something, as Jordan says, is more of the movie makeup.
Yeah. So when this person says that this thing they're seeing has horns, is that what they're talking about? Antlers?
It could be, but it is written as horn. As horns. So it could just be like devil horns. They're pure white though.
Yeah, spooky.
But the Wendigo especially is portrayed with deer antlers, and that is not accurate from what Jason has corrected on our show.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of saying about
the Wendigo. Definitely seems more like a Bigfoot, but
emaciated. Learn about them. There's a lot of lore and research properly done about it, and they are fascinating tales.
Anyway, as I warned,
it also could just be a flesh consuming human.
The
How flesh consuming
necrophage, as The Witcher
human.
says. I need to get into The
Boy.
Witcher 3.
Oh, it's so
Keep
good,
trying.
dude. It's so good.
The new Final Fantasy is very much like a Witcher 3 style like world. And I'm all like,
cool.
oh, this is a lot like it. Do I just need to actually
that makes me
sit
want to play
down?
the new Final Fantasy.
It's decent. I can't say much because I am a Final Fantasy whore, but that's for our podcast, Final Fantasy Whores and Me.
Horrors and lores. The horrors of horrors and lores.
So the other thing that we feel whatever this creature is, it is influencing us from inside the house as well. The front door they have has a glass window in the middle of it, which is opaque. You can't see perfectly through it, but you can tell if someone is on the outside.
That's a recipe for a horror movie.
Oh yeah,
scene.
straight up. Anyways, we have all been too scared to open the door when this happens, but sometimes in the middle of the night, we can see something white moving quickly in front of the door from the inside. We also hear footsteps on the other side of the house, among other issues. I'm wondering if this is the same creature from the far outside, inside of the woods.
Spooky.
So what do we think? They are literally asking for help without being able to speak too much on various creatures. I mean, you're seeing something. If this is legitimate, that's something.
There is kind of a more recent phenomenon that was largely championed by the dude over on Monsters Among Us, the guy who talks like this. Derek Hayes. He does some great work with people's firsthand encounters, and they have sort of started the movement or the tracking of a creature that they call the Pale Crawler. And apparently, we've talked about it here on the pod before.
Yes.
There is a creature that is out there in the fens and spinnies of the land, creeping around, this big, long, scary, pale creature that has kind of a skeletal face to it and has this vibe of like the silence in the woods is a big one. That's a good sign that that one of these things is creeping around. The feeling watched is a big one. Generally, they seem to stay at a distance and watch from the tree line. They don't necessarily engage people from what I've heard, but at the same time, who knows? Maybe they just don't engage people who are getting away.
Weird, scary. But when you say it like that, and I now remember, I think I do. Yeah, we're going Pale Crawler. Like, it's pretty dead on.
Get yourself a Pale Crawler.
Also, through this Reddit, I now found myself on the subreddit map porn.
Nice.
And the full length of the Appalachian Mountains
goes right. It goes fucking deep.
Oh, not to mention like the original kind of range of that thing.
That's what I'm looking at right now.
So big.
It goes up to Greenland and the north of Norway.
Yeah. A lot of strange shit in the Appalachians.
Anyway, spooky Appalachia. Check them out.
Yes. There's what is it, that saying that's famous in Appalachia, which is if you heard something in the woods, no, you didn't.
No, you didn't. Just keep going. You didn't hear nothing, boy.
You didn't hear nothing. Keep moving.
It freaks me out. I find myself listening to more of Spooky Appalachia's tales. He just did one on Jenny Greenfinger.
Green Teeth.
Sorry, yeah, Jenny Green Teeth, and the Appalachian Mountains are horrifying. As so would be a witch called Jenny Greenfinger, and she just tries to touch you with the finger.
Or she's really good at like having a vegetable garden.
Yeah, one of the two.
Yeah,
probably both.
Yeah. The next humanoid encounter that I choose to share to you all is my friend had an insane experience with a massive wing-type humanoid in Lawrence, Kansas
Oh boy.
March 20th, 2024.
Mumbus Grumbus.
I fucked a bat on DMT.
Oh boy, he fucking sniped my ass with that one.
It doesn't even last that long. You really got at it fast. My friend sent me an insane text out of nowhere. If you look at my
I fucked a bat on DMT.
So if you look at the poster, who is user infected needle. So if you look at user infected needle's post, you do see that they are into the paranormal, but they are somewhat sensible. They're not crazy. I browse this Reddit, the paranormal Reddit and the UFO Reddit, but I have a degree in biochemistry. He's, I think, one of the people that you might not enjoy the most sometimes when they just go maybe full skeptic on some stuff.
No, that's
trolling,
the thing.
if you will.
People who have the scientific mind about it are more open to learning things than people who are just
true.
fancy themselves fucking very intelligent, internet educated fucks.
True. So this person had a encounter that happened off of I-70. Yes, they have an edit that I'm adding into the story proper. Off of I-70 in Kansas in 20...
I gotta clarify. The people I'm talking about, these are like the type of people who play a lot of League of Legends and think that makes them smart.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Fair. I misunderstood. I understand now. Because I've seen a lot of Neil deGrasse's out there too, going like, I have a degree in this and it's just ball lightning. And then we're like, but ball lightning's a pretty cool phenomenon. They're like, get out of here.
Yeah.
So this person saw a giant UAP in 2012 off of I-70, which basically cemented to me that no one knows what's going on and UAPs and humanoids are real. Anyways, my friend who is ex-military and was honorably discharged and has been in combat sent me an insane text yesterday morning, which is repeated right now verbatim. The text said, "Bro, I'm not sure what the fuck I just saw, but it is something I have never seen before. Anywhere, not in real life, not in games, not in TV or anything. I was walking the dog, name redacted for anonymity."
Well, and technically it was in real life.
Wouldn't want to steal that that dog's identity.
We were not down by the tree line behind the trailer park, behind I-70 and the trailer park on 31st in Iowa at 4:30 a.m.
Okay,
and
this is sounding a lot like the first place I smoked weed, but
the pet dog just stopped dead in its tracks and started barking at the sky. I looked up and there was something floating about 50 feet above us. The closest thing I can relate to it is something shaped like a human with massive wings and glowing eyes.
Oh shit, Mothman!
I pulled my phone out and it shot straight up and disappeared.
Whoa!
My fucking heart is pounding right now.
You got Mothman, homie.
He got Mothman. He sent the text right after it happened, allegedly. The closest description he gave was that of the classic Mothman, as we're saying.
Mothman.
I mean, crazy. You got Mothman. I don't know if I assume you already reported on this, Spooky, but crazy Mothman story for you if you have not. Yeah, Mothman. What would you do if 50 feet above you, he's just checking you out?
I mean, what is he doing?
He's interested in you. Like, he's like, what is going on here?
Then go check my website and book me, Mothman.
I assume you just wink back.
Mothman, book me on your show, please. Everybody's getting booked.
So there is a addendum to this as well, a postscript, I mean to say. Here's more detailed description. It was massive and in shadow because the moon was behind it. It had a weird blue aura or glow. He said he first looked up. He hadn't even noticed it because it was silently hovering above the trees 50 feet up. He said its eyes glowed a deep blue. Blue is not naturally a color found in nature. As we all know, there are various creatures that do have that red eye shine.
That is not the color of the Mothman.
That is not the color of the Mothman. This is possibly the color of the Moth Girl.
Mothmam.
Mothmam, if you will.
Yes.
Feels like there should be a Danny Elfman
A Danny Mothman.
search. Yeah.
So its
We need
wingspan,
science.
its wingspan was 30 feet across, approximately, and
That's
was 10
huge.
feet long.
Pretty big. Yeesh.
It was 20 feet tall, but its dick was half the size. All right, my dick joke for the segment's done.
Pretty good. Pretty good.
He said it was thick like a bear almost. All right,
Okay.
the dick jokes keep coming.
They just keep coming, huh?
I watched
one you think you're
a
out.
tornado.
It was wearing a black robe, akin to a Grim Reaper style robe. This is now getting a little bit Flatwoods.
Yeah.
It did have a flat humanoid head with a flat, non-distinct nose and mouth with no obvious ears. He said that when they made eye contact, it was like amore. They made eye contact and the dog started barking. It looked confused or scared. It then let out a slight gasp as it used its wings to immediately shoot up and away at an insane speed. So I'm thinking this is more so, I don't know how wings work like that. I know eagles can hover because their bones are hollow. They're very light.
And they're filled with helium.
So they can ride the various wind streams. But this thing is too huge.
Too huge.
So I'm thinking anti-gravity. Anyway, let me continue.
Oh, yeah, it's flying via some sort of
silent.
Psychic blast off.
The OP says that yes, that aura could be perhaps a mechanical means of propulsion, although it has wings, maybe just for show or some nonsense. Maybe it's just like an emu that grew arms and built anti-gravity technology so it can fly. Anyway, weird thought. Especially, they thought it was mechanical because it said it was near damn silent when it flew off. Additionally, after this, 4 months ago, he said that same person had a similar experience in the same area behind his trailer park. He heard someone screaming behind his house out in the woods. He went out back and yelled out and heard someone scream, "Help me." He then saw what looked like a phone flashlight and it turned off and then silent. He said that he thought it could have been kids that were pranking him, but something creeped him out and he didn't go out to check it because it was nighttime both times. He didn't necessarily chalk it up to anything paranormal. But when he told me the story, he definitely assumed the worst because I've trolled these Reddits forever and heard of anecdotes that sound straight out of a horror movie. So that's the full post of that one.
Pretty good.
It doesn't sound like
Pretty
Mothman.
weird, kid.
It has a Mothman like feel, but yeah, it then it then separates from it. The flat head, the flat nose,
No.
the blue eyes.
Yeah, those blue eyes. That is not Mothmanian.
I also don't think Mothman has an aura.
Oh, Mothman has an aura. A man can cast a spell.
So let's take our car.
Nate, I've been saying that so much recently.
Mothman has an aura.
No, but that's another shirt. Nate Balding used to tell a great joke about being in an Uber where a guy was like, "Do you believe a man can cast a spell on another man?" And he does this long explanation. I won't do the bit, but then at the end, the guy goes, "A man can cast a spell." It's very funny.
So the last one we have is from a user called Melodiosis Luna. Melodious Luna. My bad. I know how to read barely.
Sure, me too. Just barely.
And it's titled Black Trench Coat, Bowler Hat, and Red Eyes on Route 66, New Mexico. Get in the car, boys. We're going to Route 66. We're eating some chili.
The boys are time bomb.
Hi, guys. So before I start this post, I will say that I was very young, but my mother recalls the experience quite clearly. I'm not into cryptozoology, but I'm curious if this is a common sighting.
Or now, kid.
All right. This was along Route 66 from Texas into New Mexico. We were heading to my great-grandfather's funeral back in 2005 in the middle of the summer. What a bad time to drive in that area. I'm sorry, man.
Yeah, that sucks.
They were 10 at the time. The sun was starting to set, and I remember us talking. I'm eating a Happy Meal they bought me at the time, and we were just swapping stories and having a good time. They made me this cubby-like area in the trunk for me to lay down, color, and do whatever the fuck 10-year-olds do. I think dance and sing, maybe?
Dance and sing and romp in the moonlight.
Right.
However, most of the...
why the fuck did they go to McDonald's when they could have had a Whataburger?
Oh, it's a sad truth about myself that I realized not too long ago.
Yep, but you're a McDonald's man, not a Whataburger man.
McDonald's is my comfort food. When I get sick,
goddamn,
I want McDonald's. It sucks.
I understand that.
It's bad.
I get it.
In the exact way that I want it to be.
I get that. That's Little Caesars for me, kind of, to where like, I'm not looking for good. I'm looking to put bad in me. Anyway, this family's going to have some bad inside of them soon. As are with most road trips, the time was, of course, spent looking out the windows versus anything else. While my parents were talking and the radio was on, I was just watching the world pass by. But I remember very clearly seeing a man standing and staring at cars. He wore a black trench coat, bowler, perhaps even a top hat, a black beard, but the part I remember the most was the bright, glowing red eyes.
Like the pirate. The black beard, not the red eyes.
Yes.
Remember
That's
that?
The pirate red eyes.
Red eyes. Yeah.
He was defeated by Visine, I do believe.
Yeah. Visine, the swashbuckler.
I pointed it out to my mom, who was distracted at the time, having not seen it. Well, a couple hours go by, and I'm still looking out the window. I made a little game for myself to see if I could count how many birds I could spot along the way.
Love that game. Love that game for you.
The sun was setting. Next thing I know, the same dude is just ahead of us. But because of the dark, the eyes were a lot more intense. This time, my mom saw it, got concerned, and told my dad to speed up. Eventually, fatigue sets in. They find a rest stop, and it's pitch black there. The kind of dark you can't even see with your own feet without a light. Real darkness.
Sure.
They were all...
You're trying to look at your feet.
All the time, sadly, but depression. We were all trying to sleep. I had to go to the bathroom, and my dad walked out with me as I was rather freaked out from the sighting earlier, worried the guy would come and grab me.
The guy. Daddy, the guy.
As we got out of the car, I remember my father staring off into the distance, and he told me to hurry up.
Oh, boy.
though keeping his usual calm demeanor. When I finished, got back in the car, he started it and we took off again, driving to a stay at a motel instead. I asked him and my mother about it recently as we were reminiscing together about the trips we'd taken. Can you just imagine that? They're just reminiscing, and then this poster's all like, remember that time we were terrorized by that man in the hat with the glowing red eyes? What a vacation.
Maybe it's been happening for decades.
It could. It could. So he asked his parents, or they asked their parents about it. And when I asked my dad why he went to the hotel, he claimed it was because he saw the same pair of eyes staring at us from a hill where we were above a rocky outcropping. Indeed. And then the post goes on to ask if anyone has heard similar stories or knows what this could possibly be. They remember the eyes so vividly burned into their mind.
Yikes.
As well as him being out in the desert heat. Remember, he saw this kid. They saw this person once in like pure day, once at twilight, and then apparently at night from a rocky outcrop. Desert heat, being out there in desert heat with a heavy trench coat. My dad swears it was the devil. My mom thinks it was a chupacabra.
Well, the mom's wrong.
Yeah. I mean, thanks for joining in, Mom, but that's weird. And I think at the end of the day, some critters just ain't gonna fall into any of these categories, you know?
They probably just had a human form twice and then was the rocky outcrop.
Yeah.
You know, like I guess what I'm trying to say, one of them transforming entities.
The hills have eyes.
I am trying to say without saying it, the hills have eyes, but there's no better ways of saying it. The hills have eyes. Stay out of New Mexico. Why would you go there?
Treader.
It spooked me. These are the ones that spooked me the most. There's so much on this one. Thank you, Jordan, for pointing it out to me.
Yes.
A great Reddit. One of the non-hellish landscapes.
Yeah, humanoid encounters is great.
Humanoid encounters. There's all sorts of posts also going like, this is also something. It reminds me of this. And then there's people flexing.
Yeah.
Apparently, this is also similar to the Filipino creature, the Manananggal, which I think we've talked about.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And then another poster is all like, the Manananggal's way scarier. It's a floating fucking head with its guts hanging out.
Pretty scary.
True.
Supposedly, you can't kill it by finding its body.
Yeah. Well, good episode, folks. That was a fun one. I had fun shouting about nerds and talking about spookies, gabbing about ghouls. I believe we almost called the podcast.
We still can.
Gabbing ghoulies.
Thank you so much for joining us here today. If you enjoyed what we did, please go check us out on patreon.com/werewolf radar. You can sign up to give us a small financial donation, and that would be very, very helpful to help us continue doing what we love to do. You can also check us out on twitch.tv/werewolf radar. Werewolf_radar. You can check us out on Threads. You can check us out on Twitter. You can check us out at werewolfradar.com. We're all over the place. You can't throw an apple on the internet without hitting something that Werewolf Radar done did. Shout out to Chuck from Snappy Little Numbers for an intro and outro song. I should also mention that if you become a Patreon member, not only do you get access to another episode every week we'll give you another one that we record two, but only one of them goes to the Dark Council members. And I can't tell you what happens there. That's part of it. It's all secret. But we I'm going to stop right there. I can't tell you. I'm sorry. I can't tell you.
You can't. The skull will bite you again, and then you'll get infected.
And then I'll turn into a were skull, which I can't go through again. I just can't.
Please don't.
What else am I missing? What else should they do? What's our call to action?
Call to action. I think you should, go to City Hall and do
stars.
Redacted.
Stars. We want your stars. Give us your stars. Please give us your stars. Go to anywhere where podcasts are made and fork over them stars. We want to be all the way at the top of those charts. And that's how we get it. It really helps people find the podcast. If you give us a little rate and review, we would really appreciate it. That does it for this episode of Werewolf Radar. Until next time, as always, on the count of 3, our sign-off line. 1, 2, 3. Punch the sky.
Spaceman Joe.